Okay, guys, welcome back to Strength Coach Basic Training. Today, we're going to talk about networking and social media and just the job market in general, and give you a few tips and some suggestions to put your best foot forward when you're putting yourself out there for people to know who you are. And networking is so critical in the field. There's a lot of people. That's simply the one way that you separate yourself from other people. When I get resumes all the time, they all have degrees, they all have certifications, they all have um, different experiences. What sets people apart is when I'm able to look at that reference list and be able to call people and them speak very highly about a person. Just in fact, this morning I talked with a SEC strength coach about one of our former interns because we're friends and we're talking about a position that he had available. So it is critical to have a great networking plan. So I've got 10 tips for networking. First, the most important thing in your networking is to be genuine and authentic. If you're not genuine and authentic, people see through that pretty quickly. And so, whenever you're going out to these networking opportunities, whether it be a site visit or a conference or something along those lines, you want to be yourself. You want to, when you're yourself, you're the most comfortable. When you're yourself, there's no surprises when you do get hired. And so, one of the things you want to do is just rate yourself. 1 to 10. Um, you know, one being completely fake, 10 being completely genuine, and give yourself a rating and ask yourself whether or not you would hire that person. Um, and then make your adjustments. But it's important that you express your positive qualities whenever you go out and you network. Next, you want to make sure that you are passionate about what you're doing. We've all met the person that is so passionate about what they do that it's almost sick, but you're instantly drawn to that person. And I just read a book called The Fred Factor. Um, Fred Factor is about Fred, who is a postman, and just the impact that he has. True story. Um, just the impact that he had on his community, and it all came from the approach in which he did his job. And I can tell you one thing: if you want to be a strength coach, and you're not passionate about athletes, about sport, about exercise science and phys, then you're not going to make it. And so outside of being a genuine and authentic, if you're not passionate, then there's really no sense even going through the rest of these networking tips. Next, you want to visit as many coaches and facilities as you can. This morning I spoke to an SEC strength coach um, who was looking for an assistant, and I, as strength coaches, we get 1,000 resumes every day, and they're all about the same. They all have some sort of exercise science degree. They all have certifications. They all have some experience. They all want to be strength coaches, and they're all telling us how hard they're going to work. And that's great. But the thing that separates people is that networking that takes place, and being able to call a friend, that's in your network and say, hey, do you know this guy? What do you think? Or do you know this gal? What do you think? Will she do a great job? Is she a warrior? Is she passionate? Is she authentic? Is she genuine? And you know that's going to be the determining factor a lot of times. Very rarely are you going to hire somebody that you don't know. Kind of along with that is you want to hold volunteer positions. Um, Very important that you get some hands-on practical experience. If you don't have that practical experience, then people cannot. You can have all the book credentials that you can possibly manage, but if you have not proven that you can do the job, um, then it really is a mute point because if I can't trust you, if I have to do an extra, our days are long enough as they are. If I have to train you on top of it, and really there's a steep learning curve there, then it's not worth the trouble. So in volunteer positions, not only do you get to show people that you're genuine and authentic, that you're passionate, and that you are committed to the field, but you also get that practical hands-on experience that is critical for just your learning. Whenever you're in these conferences or you're out dealing with coaches, you have to be engaging. You have to ask open-ended questions. There's As a strength coach, you train yourself to um, pretty much eliminate any kind of mindless or unnecessary conversations because you're just so busy. And if you ask me a yes no question, I'm going to give you a yes no answer, and we're gonna move on. However, if you ask me a who, a what, a where, a how question, I'm forced to kind of formulate a response and to open up a dialogue with you. And so you want to go into those questions. What did you do to get into strength and conditioning? Who were some important influences, or people that helped shape the strength coach that you are, or what are some of the books that you've read, whatever they may be. But when you ask those types of questions, I'm forced uh, to go beyond the one word answer that I typically want to give. Next, you want to become known as a powerful resource. The next tip is for others. And when you're a resource, um, then all of a sudden you become a person that can bring something to the table. And I tell people all the time when I was interning, when I was assistant, I kind of I wasn't really looked at as a resource in a lot of these networking type of situations. But all of a sudden, I became a head strength coach, and because I'm in a similar role, um, I tell people I had a seat at the big kids table, and so because I could provide a resource. Now there's tons of people and very intelligent people out there that are going to be able to provide resources to people. So what can you bring to the table? Look at what you have a strength in, and then maximize that. I tell our classes all the time that I look for intangibles. So all of a sudden, you come to the table with a really good working knowledge of HTML code or something like that. Then I see that's a huge resource. I don't care if you're an intern, you're an assistant, or what. I'm going to find a way to use that, and and you're going to stick out, and you're going to be worth remembering. Be able to articulate what you're looking for and how others may help you. This is one of the things that often gets overlooked, but you need to have clearly concise goals and then steps in which people can help you. If you walk into a situation where you want to be a strength coach more than anything in the world, and you get a chance to meet one of the top strength coaches in the country, one of these networking opportunities, there outside of just can you hire me, there needs to be some other ways that they may be able to help you. Do you know anybody? If I'm from Missouri and I happen to be at the CSCCA conference or the NSCA conference, and I'm there talking to a strength coach that's maybe up in New York, it's not worth it. Ask them, hey, do you know anybody in Missouri? Do you know anybody at Southeast Missouri State? Do you know anybody at Missouri? Do you know anybody at St. Louis University or wherever it may be? And would you be able to set up a meeting for me to meet with them so I can network? That's not them asking them for a job. That's you asking for help on how you could get to where you want to be. Next, you want to take responsibility from the results that you get. Ultimately, it's up to you. You want to make sure you get all the certifications that you need. You want to make sure you get all the experience that you need to move forward. One of my pet peeves is when an intern comes to me and wants a job recommendation, and they have left here as an intern, but then they haven't got any more experience or they haven't got any more credentials. And when they leave, if it's not believable for you to get the next step, which would be an assistant or a GA, then it's very difficult to feel like I can stick my neck out for that person. So you've got to take responsibility for um, yourself and what you need to move forward. You want to follow through quickly and efficiently on all referrals that you're given. You're going to get these types of responses, like I mentioned, from strength coaches where, do you know anybody here? Great. They give me a strength coach. You want to follow up on that. When I was getting into strength and conditioning, I was working for the Kansas City Royals, and I was sending out, I sent out something 300 some odd letters to different strength coaches, and I would follow up on every response. One of the responses I got was from Rich Tootin with the Denver Broncos, and Rich had said for me to contact Ray Wilsey with NFL Europe. Well, I didn't know Coach Tootin, I didn't know Ray Wilsey, but I knew that Coach Tootin knew Coach Wilsey, and so I reached out to Mr. Wilsey and just told him that I was recommended, I was referred by Rich Tootin, and that I should talk to him about any kind of opportunities with NFL Europe. Well, here I am a year out of college, and long story short, I get offered a strength and conditioning position with the Amsterdam Admirals just off of a follow-up that I had, to a response I got from a letter. So you never know how those things are going to happen, but it's very important that you follow up as quickly as you can. Why? And you've heard the expression "strike while the iron's hot." Well, that's what we're talking about here. Lastly, the 10th tip: call those that you meet who may benefit from what you do, and vice versa. Um, do not limit yourself just to the people that you want to work for. Make sure you're networking as best you can with the people that you can help currently, and you never know who's going to be able to help you get your next job. Who has a brother, an uncle, an aunt, whatever, that knows somebody somewhere. And so if you're always being genuine and you're always being authentic and you're very passionate about what you do and you're doing all the stuff that you need to do to put yourself in a position, there's always people out there. It's what do they say? You're always 7 people from anybody in the world. I think there's a lot of truth to that. Okay, social media. Now, I'm telling you right now, when I first got into strength and conditioning, and really up until about a year ago, I avoided the social media websites like the plague. There was no use for that in my life, I felt, and I really didn't like the whole Facebook and Twitter and all those things. But it's the way of the world now, and it's not going anywhere. And so I started looking into it and using some interns to kind of help teach me, and reading some things, and watching some videos and doing those types of things, and researching social media as best I could. And I found that it's an unbelievable networking tool for strength coaches, and specifically for those strength coaches trying to get into the field. So I think it's a must, especially now with things. And so if you're like me and you avoided those things, you're gonna have to get over that hump. If you're doing that currently, well, then there's some do's and don'ts that you need to make sure that you are adhering to. And so, very first thing, I think you have to have an online presence. Um, it's becoming used by everybody. It's becoming used by employers. I started initially having a Facebook page because I wanted to be able to look up potential interns, and see what kind of character they had. Since I couldn't bring them in for an interview process, I wanted to know what type of person they were. And typically I was able to kind of get a good gauge from that, from pictures and types of posts and those types of things. And so that's initially how I started. So employers all the time are looking at this. But now you got all kinds of things. There's all kinds of groups. There's all kinds of professionals out there that are online that are putting content out there. And by you being online and your name being in front of people, um, it really is a must. Next, you want to remember that your presence is part of your professional image. Okay, so how do you want to be perceived um, is critical for you to make sure that you portray yourself that way. If you're on there with a cut off tank top and flexing and all those types of things, and that's what you want people to see, then you've got to ask yourself, if you're a strength coach, a professional strength coach, would you hire this person? And so, for those of you that already have Twitters and Facebooks and YouTubes and all that, you want to go through and just take a good gander and say, would I hire this person as a professional strength and conditioning coach? You know, so that image, my advice is to keep anything that you put out there is going to be seen or found. And so my advice is for you to um, treat it as if it's a kind of an online resume. Next, you want to think before you post. Should go without saying, but it doesn't. People post all kinds of things. I had a intern at one point, that identified more with one philosophy than another, and so he puts up, if it ain't hit, it ain't. You can imagine what he said, and now that guy's tainted for the rest of his career as this one philosophy. Which bottom line, you identify yourself with just any one philosophy, you're going to be severely limit where you can go and work. Um, but because of that, it told a lot about his character right then and there. So we were able to, whenever you post anything, if you're posting, I hope I go out and get lit tonight, and we're gonna party for 3 straight days out in Vegas. Well, I can't have a guy go out, or one of my coaches go out and just abandon things for 3 days and not keep composure, because wherever they go, they're representing the university. So very important that you don't put anything out there that you don't want people to see. Bottom line. Uh, Next, you want to follow company guidelines. Um, One of the things that whenever I get on there, I typically get on um, late at night. Most of my posts and things along those lines, I usually get on and put a quote up or something along those lines. Um, but they're usually late at night, and it's accepted for that time. But if all of a sudden, if I'm going online at 7 o'clock in the morning, or let's say 11 o'clock in the morning, well, should I be working, or should I be getting on Facebook? You know, and so often, I know everybody's schedule is different, but that's one of the things that goes through my mind when I see a comment that was put up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, is this person really giving everything they got to their position? Not to mention some uh, schools, some organizations have rules against when you can and can't use social media at work. So you want to make sure that you're following those guidelines. You don't want to post any uh, negative comments. I mean, it kind of goes with, along with thinking before you post. Um, Obviously, if you put something out there that's negative, that's it's there for good. So it can always come back to you. Next, don't let social media networking take over your life. You can get when you get into these things, there's so many of them that it can often be paralysis by analysis. I mean, you're going to try to be on every network and this that, and the other, and you just all of a sudden you've been online 4 or 5 hours, and it's pretty difficult to give that much time into something. So very important that you just kind of come up with a plan that works well for you, and then stick with it. A lot of these networking sites, they have being able to be linked to each other. Facebook's linked to Twitter, Twitter's linked to LinkedIn. all these things, and you're able to post once and it goes several different places, and you can kind of, you're there for a minute as opposed to going to 3 different sites or 4 different sites. So as much as you can research that type of stuff, that'll be beneficial to you as well. Lastly, just old school, but the most important thing is still phone calls and in-person visits. Those are gonna resonate more for people than anything else. It's those types of personal interaction that are becoming obsolete in a lot of respects. People are doing so much through um, these different, electronic media that you know in place and actually talking to a live person is not the norm. So definitely is going to be something that you want to still maintain. Go a couple. Good rule of thumb is to go 2 or 3 interactions before either making a phone call or going and visiting. All right, with social media, you have several different platforms, and I'm just going to touch on a few. Um, these have been the ones that I've found most effective, but I would definitely recommend any young strength coach or any strength coach um, to do. And so, um, Facebook is king. We all know that. You see it everywhere, and there's so much you can do with Facebook. And to be honest with you, you probably know more than I do. But one thing to consider is a fan page versus a personal page. Most people have a personal page, and I think there's a 5,000 person limit as on there. So for some of you, that's I'll never hit 5,000 people, and it is what it is. However, there are some of you that you're going to friend everybody. I mean, if I'm looking at it, and I purely look at my Facebook as purely professional, I want as many friends as possible. I want as many athletes as possible, um, and coaches and other strength professionals, because that's just that much more content coming in. So you can create a fan page that's unlimited basically, but also is a different, if you want to have some uh, personal information and only have a few sets, keep things personal and professional. Keep a personal page for yourself, and then put a professional fan page as well. And I'll show you a little bit how to do that here in a second and show how to set it up. Um, Another thing you can do is you can change the URL so it's facebook.com/username, and then searching for pages and people. So I'm going to go ahead and end this show and show you a little bit about what I'm talking about here. So if I go to my Facebook, all right, so this is my personal Facebook page, and you can see I have 500 and some odd friends. These are mostly people that have either played or coached or family that I know. Kept it relatively just a few people, and I used to go through here and delete people and all that, but I don't really ever post anything that's too personal, so it works out fine for me. But you can see that I've linked mine to Twitter, and I've linked it to um, one of my fan pages as well. So a lot of things that I post elsewhere come up on here as well. But I have pictures of my family um, and that type of stuff. But I also have a fan page. Now this is one of my businesses here, um, called the Athletic U, and you can see that I created this fan page for the Athletic U. Now, Athletic U have significantly more people, 1,100 people or so. Here I'm just trying to put stuff out that's going to be promoting the business. And so you can see here's a former intern that was named Strength Coach of the Year. I put that out there. It's just, like again, just a press release. But you're able to go and create these pages, and I just go on and put, here's 4 of my former players that were playing in the Arena Bowl championship. This was a camp workout that we did. We set up a camp weight room, and Here's another former intern. Where we went to training camp. Over the video. So a bunch of different things. And this is this professional. So what you can do as an individual is you can go, if you go to anybody's fan page, so you can go to mine here, theathleticu.com. If you look at the top, facebook.com/theathleticu, if you're not a member of this anyways, go ahead and do that because we put some good stuff out here. But you can go to the bottom, and it's going to say, create a fan page for my business, okay? You want to network yourself like you're your own CEO. You're your, um, you know, Joe whatever Smith, John Smith, Inc. That's what you are. And so you would just hit create a fan page for my business, and let's just say it's a local business or whatever. I'm not going to put anything to that, but let's just say that I want to go, Ron McKeefery, CSCS, or whatever my credentials would be. So if I want CSCS, SEC, I guess I should put my education there. So I've got my official fan page here. I'll need to check this. I'm the representative, and then I create a official page. Let's see here. So it looks like they're not going to let me do that because it's got my, I'm not sure why they let me do that, but let's just say that, we're going to create, you would have to play around with this and find something that works, but I would try to use your name and, strength coach, my name, or my name, strength coach, whatever you want to put. But just for giggles here, we're going to go strength coach, basic training, and create a fan page for this presentation. So now, all of a sudden it pops up, strength coach, basic training, and I can add an image, and it gives me some basic information. I would go through here, and then, just start posting stuff on my wall, Once you get to this point, you can go to suggest to my friends right here, hit suggest to my friends, and then you want to basically invite anybody that you think would be a professional contact for you. So like Al Johnson, there's a good one, or Adam Fight. Adam is up at Eastern Michigan doing really good stuff with the young strength coach professionals. Alan Stein is a good strength coach. So you can go on and on down the list, but I would just go through and I'd check all these guys and I'd send invitations. And once I have 25, I believe it's 25 friends, I can change the URL up here to go facebook.com/strength coach basic training, or whatever I want to call this page. But you can only change that one time, so you want to make sure you have that. So you might have, if you go to my profile, it's ron.mckeefery is my personal page. I might go ron.mckeefery CSCS is my professional fan page. Then from there, you just go and you can edit your pages. So you go home. I go to ads and pages. And so I got strength coach basic training. I got the athletic U. I've got 1,100 fans in this one. I have 0 fans in this one. But I would just go to that page, and I would put a new picture in, invite some friends, and start building that. And what I would do then, if I was you, is I would post to this and have it go ahead and carry over to your personal page as well. So you're posting to 2 different places. And as long as you're keeping things mostly professional, that would be good. And then anytime you want to go anything just personal, just go to your personal page. So I would definitely do this, and then from there, you want to search. I mean, let's let's search for Al, Johnson. Al Johnson was strength coach at West Virginia and Ohio State for a long time. But I would just, I would hit him, And since he's already a friend, it doesn't come up. But but it would be, add Al Johnson as a friend, and or subscribe to Al or whatever, and I would ask him to be a friend of mine, or Rob Taylor, um, good strength coach. You know, I could go and ask him to be a friend, and then, they put good stuff up here. There's a lot of good quotes that Rob's put up. He has a blog that he puts some things out on, smarter team training, and some good things there. Videos from time to time. So these are good ways for you just to get some good information, especially as a young strength coach. But then you can also search for fan pages or businesses. So Rob's is Smarter Team Training. He's got a group and a fan page. I can go to the fan page, and the same thing. Good stuff. I should subscribe to this, and I can get updates, as to what he's got going on, or like I told you, my page is the Athletic U. Um, you can do a search for, find my page, hit that, go there and subscribe to that. So definitely a lot of information that you can get just off Facebook. So it's definitely worth looking into. Let's see here. All right, so talked about Facebook. Let's talk about YouTube now. All right, YouTube is. We're going to get into some stuff that you're going to be able to do with YouTube that's really going to help you professionally. But a couple of things. One just same type of thing. You create an account, change the URL, and then you're in search for channels and how tos on things. A lot of good information. I'm a very visual learner, so I like to see things being done. So YouTube is very good for that. So if we go to my YouTube page for Athletic U, I can go there. I can. So here's a video that comes up. I went through a firefighter's physical test just as part of a kind of a blog that I did. So you can see me going through this physical test that the firefighters do. But you can see on the sides here, I've got it branded for my deal. You can come up with a logo, or you can just come up with your picture or something along those lines. The Athletic Use channel. Here, I think you have to pay a small fee, if I remember correctly. But you can change the URL on your YouTube as well, so that you're kind of keeping with a constant theme on things. But we have a stretching routine on here. I went and spoke over in London. We got some stance and start stuff, some wall sprints, some plyometric videos. And people are able to subscribe to you. You got friends that you subscribe to. And it's very, very, one, you put a lot of information up here. So one of the things I'm going to have you do is create a YouTube account and then go around. And at one point when we get done teaching you about squat technique, I'm going to have you go on, film yourself teaching how to teach an athlete how to squat, put that up on your YouTube, and all of a sudden now you're sending this link out to a potential employer saying, hey, look, if you're concerned about me being able to coach the squat or the clean or whatever, watch me coach here, and some really cool stuff that you can do with that. But if I just did whatever, tire training, there's a bunch of videos that you can watch on different tire training, and getting different ideas. We just actually just put out a video on tire training, and this is where I got a lot of good ideas. But then it gave me, as I was watching ideas on here, it gave me a lot of other exercises that we could do that that were unique. So if I wanted to learn how to make a sandbag, whatever it may be, how to make your own sandbag, great. Maybe I'm on a budget and I need to learn. I need to do something very, very cheap. Well, I'm sure that this is probably decent, And you got to decipher. You got to dig through some things and figure out what's good and what's bad. And once you find a couple channels, like let's take Elite. Um, they have a. If I go to their page, let's go to their page here. You can see they branded their site really, really neat looking, and they got a bunch of videos. They have a lot of great videos that you can go and check out. And so from a strength coach standpoint, when you're looking for, we did an MMA workout with our guys this summer, and I just went on YouTube and started. I typed in MMA exercises and strongman exercises and got 1,000 different ideas for a workout and did it. In half the time it took me to sit there and think about it. So YouTube's a very, very good tool, and having your own YouTube page, there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to be able to do with that. Okay, so getting back to the presentation here, the next one I want to talk about is LinkedIn. Okay, just kind of going over the setup, filling out a profile, and then searching for groups and people. Very, again, all these social media sites are very similar. And once you kind of learn one, again, I was very anti-social media, trying to learn these things, but they're all about the same. Once you learn out one, you can kind of figure out the others. But I got my LinkedIn pulled up here, and so I can go to my profile, and I got all the different things about me. I'm a head strength coach at USF. I got 500 plus connections on here. This is my website. I have a Twitter link to this. You can see that, my Facebook was linked to this, so something I posted on Facebook, and doing different things there. You can see all the former stuff that I've posted. I didn't go in here at all and post any of this stuff. This all came from Facebook. But you're able to, you go through contacts. Again, this is a little bit more professional in contacts, so it's not just anybody will give up their stuff, because you get a lot of information when you do. You get emails and you get all those types of things. But these are great ways to just kind of reach out and talk to people. Doing a search for friends, you just search for somebody, you would ask to connect with them, and go. See, like Kevin Barr was my first boss with the Kansas City Royals before Tim Maxey took over. Good, easy way to reach out to him. But what's really neat about this is that you can, this profile, for a young strength coach getting in, you can essentially put your resume online here for people to look at, experience and education. Here's some recommendations. So, you can get me to recommend you. Personal information, contact settings, all those different things you can throw on there and, reach out. Now you can see mine, this is something you guys, again, you'll pick a lot of this stuff up faster than I have. It's part of kind of having that plan. I do enough with LinkedIn to kind of stay connected, but I only got 45% of my profile complete, because I'm not looking for a job or anything like that. And, I don't necessarily need to fill out my complete profile right at this point, but very good tool for a young strength coach. All right, next, Twitter. Here's the homepage for Twitter. I'm not going to take you through the whole step process here, but you can, if you need an account, you just sign up. I don't know why it's taking so long here, but you hit the sign up, and then you just go through the steps. And, full name, username, what do you want to be? Again, you don't want to put on here G Daddy, whatever, baller, whatever, 1227, whatever. You want to make sure that you're keeping this very unique and personal to your name, so that people are seeing it in the URL or seeing it pop up as your name. So, because you want people to have that name recognition with your personal name, not something that you're just kind of creating, and I'm not sure who it is. But you would just sign up, and then again, you can start following people. So you start following maybe some of these coaches like the head coach out at USC, Lane Kiffin, or some of these guys that have been out there. They would have a lot of people following them. All of a sudden, they might see you and want to follow you, or you might be able to attach to them and follow them. And then open up a line of communication there. All these are just basically tools for you to be able to reach out to people and connect with them, and then open up a dialogue that you can potentially take to the next level. So I have not done a lot with Twitter. You guys probably know Twitter a heck of a lot more than I do. I just know that I'm able to kind of link this to Facebook and YouTube and some of the other things, and so it goes out there. But to be honest with you, I don't think I've ever actually posted anything on Twitter. I just have a page. So, but it's definitely, again, the more you're out there, the more you can potentially get picked up, or the more that you can reach out to other people. All right. The next one is you got our strength, for strength and conditioning specifically, you got Sports Performance Network, and you have Coach Book. These are two that are kind of out there that are doing really well, that I'm on. So if I hit Strength Performance Network, you've got Strength Performance Network that's mostly just strength and conditioning. They got this is what they've done is they've taken a lot of those YouTube clips or self-loaded videos, and you can see just specifically performance type videos. So you got Georgia Southern and FSU and College of the Canyons, and a lot of good videos here. You also got a job market board, which is one of those things that I'm sure a lot of you are interested in. You got some slideshows here of different facilities. This is actually two of my former interns right here, Jennifer and Paul, that were training with tires outside our facility. You've got some events that popped up. We put our clinic up here when we have our clinic in April. Different vendors. You got different groups. I think we have our group. We have a USF group up here. Some forums, some different things there. So you got some really good stuff here. But it's kind of like Facebook in that you have friends. So there's 4,700 members. I have 828 friends on here at the time. One pending. A great way to, again, just to reach out to people. A lot of good strength coaches on here, and easy way for you to kind of reach out to them and pick people up. So definitely would get on here. Very easy. If you just go to my page, again, strengthperformance.com profile / Ron McKeefery. You got a profile, so who are you? I've got some photos of. This is of our clinic back in April. Buddy of mine, Matt Bayless, there. Latest activities, some videos that I've posted, comments, those types of things. And, again, you can share it on Facebook, you can share it on Twitter. You can make all kinds of friend requests. And some good stuff on here. Coach Book is very similar. If you look at Coach Book, very similar type deal. It's almost identical because they're both on the Ning network. But you can go to my page here, and again, if you're not friends with me on either one of these things, go ahead and do that. I post different things from time to time on both, but you can, same type of thing. Again, occupation, website address, Facebook page, fan page, all these different things, friends, comments. You can do searches for groups. So here, if I look for groups, I'm a part of kettlebells and strongman training. These are all different things that these are just ideas for me for my program. Kids fitness. I have three kids that I'm always looking for ideas for them. Strength coaches group. Fellowship Christian athletes or Christian coaches, weightlifting competitions. And then you can search for groups. You can go all groups, and there's all kinds of things: football coaches, spread coaches, team building ideas, great stuff there. You know, um, basketball coaches. So you can reach out. There's a lot of coaches that are in these different groups that you can reach out to. So both of those I think are good networking sites. Um, and then job listings. Okay, now some of the things that we mentioned. I already mentioned that on Strength Performance Network and Coach Book. There's job boards. Um, if you go to the CSCCA or the NSCA sites, um, they have job boards as well. So you can go to nsca-lift.org, and you can search for the jobs, the career resources. Then they have a job board, and you can work through that. Whether or not you're a member or you're not a member. I'm not sure how far they take you if you're not a member. I'm the state director for the NSCA in the state of Florida, so if you are not a member, let me know, and I'll try to help you out as much as possible. The CSCCA is cscca.org, and same thing here. I'm not sure. What are they? Yeah, here you go. You click careers, full-time positions, and some jobs come up. Now, to be honest with you, most of the time, once they've hit this, they've probably already been taken. That's where that networking and hearing about things ahead of time really give you the upper hand. Another site you can go to is higheredjobs.com. And, you can do a search for strength and conditioning on here. But a lot of these are listed on like that Strength Performance Network. If you just go down to the jobs and you click on any of these, simplyhired.com is another one. Higher Ed Jobs is another one, and you can kind of do a search for just strength and conditioning. But when you're looking for a job, these are, you're going to search for all these. Another thing that I do, I've done in the past, and I just get the alerts now, but if you go to Google, alerts, and you just work through this, you can type in whatever. So you can type in strength and conditioning, what do you want to hear? Everything, just news, blogs, updates, whatever. I want everything. How often? Once a day. Email linked. Up to 20 results. Put my email in. I can put an alert. If I put the strength and conditioning in, anytime there's a web announcement that gets picked up, I'll get that. I'll get that a lot of times ahead of time. Than having to go look at all those different sites. So the Google alerts, this is nice. I mean, I do this for a lot of things. I do it for the school that I work at. I do it for strength and conditioning. I do it for my name. That way, if anything pops up about me, then typically I hear about it. But you can do this for a lot of different things, and you can hear, you can get some good information this way too. So something else to consider. We talked about, and then the NCAA website. And again, you guys probably know more of these than I have. It's been quite some time that I've looked, in the job market here. But if you go NCAA job market, again, you got this is pretty good. You're able to typically get to a kind of a breakdown, and you're able to hit strength and conditioning by maybe by category here. Yeah, so go category and then go strength and conditioning, um, and then search for that. So you got a couple different strength coaching jobs that are listed here. Um, so some things to consider with the job board, but you want to keep up on those things. But the bottom line is, unless you've done all these networking things up here that we've talked about, then very rarely you're going to get hired for those spots. Um, you want to make sure that you're putting yourself out as a resource, that you're known as being genuine, authentic, and that you're passionate, and that you're a resource for people, and that you've taken the responsibility to um, get the educational background and the experience, the practical experience, to be successful. But for a guy that was so anti social media, to turn around and do as much as I do now, if I had it to do all over again, um, starting off, and I had all these resources available to me, there's so much more that you can do that I had available to me starting off. But um, again, nothing beats the personal touch still. So phone calls, letters, um, and site visits are very, very important. But with all these other uh, resources, you're able to get to a lot of people faster. And so I'd highly recommend that you take advantage of this. But hopefully you got something out of this. And if you have questions, feel free to email me. But like I said, going and doing searches for this type of stuff and researching it just like you would strength and conditioning programs will serve you well. So until next time, take care and good luck with everything.